How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Utmost Outdoors. My name is Kyle. Today's video is essentially just a question from me to you. My question essentially is regarding this backed miner's moss that I'm using in my sluice box. And the question is to potential customers who have been keeping an eye on this thing and are thinking, maybe I would buy one of those one day. So real quick, before I ask you that question, my give to you today is this backed miner's moss. It's kind of hard to find the right stuff. Some of it is coarser, some of it's, got more open area, less open area. This happens to be the right stuff. It's the right weave. I've been using this 5/16 stuff in this highbanker. My recovery percentages are, for the entire system, I capture about 50% of my gold up in the hopper. And then for the total system, I'm getting well over 95%, like 98, 99% for that first hour of shoveling. But once it's completely packed full of black sand, I believe the best test I did there was I had it running for 6 hours, loaded with black sand completely. There was probably roughly 4 to 5 grams of gold in the sluice box. And at the end of that entire run, I basically shoveled 10 shovels steady state to load everything up. On the final shovel, big tub underneath there, see what goes into that tub, and then I let it run for 5 minutes empty, loaded with all that gold and black sand to see what the scour was like. I was getting a 95% capture rate for the whole box. That means, because 50% gets caught up in the hopper, a 3-foot length of this 5/16 backed miner's moss, this exact stuff right here, and this 1/2 inch raised expanded aluminum, it's going to capture 90% of the gold in that 3-foot box. Again, with the whole system working together, it was 95%. So in order to get this moss, I went to Wakulla Mats. Just go into Google, type in wakullamats.com. They're out of St. Louis, Missouri. And if you want this right here, a 4-foot long by 2 feet wide sheet of the 5/16 stuff, it's going to put you back a cool $35 US or 48 Canadian dollars. And if you would like a sheet of, it's buried underneath here, but that same size 2x4 sheet of the 1/2 inch stuff, it's 38 US or 52 Canadian. Now the kicker is the shipping. To get this up to me in Canada, it was going to be 85 US for shipping, which is 115 Canadian dollars for shipping. And then of course there's a brokerage fee. Thank you, FedEx. So it worked out to 180 Canadian dollars to get this stuff shipped to me. And I bought 5 mats here, worked out to 292 Canadian dollars for a grand total of $472. A lot of numbers there. What I'm trying to say is if you're in the lower 48, you may be able to get this shipped to you a lot cheaper. So if you and a friend both want to buy a big mat of this stuff and split the shipping between you, the mats themselves are not particularly expensive. And this is in fact the correct stuff. You're not going to buy a different type of miner's moss that's, too open or not good for capturing this fine gold. So sharing my secrets to you in a business world of, thinking like famine thinking. I can't let anyone know where I found this good stuff, or, my future as a highbanker manufacturer will be ruined. I'd rather approach this from an abundance mentality, which is I'm just trying to lift everyone up. We're all in this together. If you happen to need some of this matting, that's the place you can get it. Not crazy out of the price range of anyone, and there's still going to be some people who sort of want a pre-manufactured unit. That's hopefully where I can come in here over the next month. This is the raised expanded that I'm using. This is sold locally here in Calgary from a screen and grading company, and it is 81 thousandths of an inch thick 3000 series aluminum, and it is sold as a 1/2 inch raised aluminum expanded. The actual dimensions of this are 1/2 inch from the leading edge of one cell to the next, and about 1 1/8 inches across. This is again a 3000 series aluminum, which is less strong and hard than the 5000 series 5052 that the box is made out of. But I've got about 30 hours on this box right here. Of course, it's only screened material. It's not like giant rocks and boulders running over it, but through this stainless steel 3/16 inch screen, which I'm preferring at this point, 30 hours on the box, does not show any signs of wear. So 5/16 backed moss from Wakula Mats, 1/2 inch raised aluminum expanded. That's essentially my version of the Pop and Sun that I'm running with good results. So that being said, I guess my question to you is the thickness of this stuff. Right now, using the 5/16. In the past, I did use some 1/2 inch stuff, and I found that even after hours of running, there was still a layer of blonde sand at the bottom. There wasn't enough energy in the sluice exchanging down to actually use the full thickness of this. And so at the end of the day, the thin stuff gives me all the recovery of the thick stuff, the advantage being less concentrates to take home at the end of the day. The only situation where I think this thick stuff might be beneficial is for the US market. The final iteration of this is going to be changed slightly so that it can handle a lot more water flow. If somebody wanted to throw, say, a 3-inch dredge into this thing, you would have screened material going down this box, a lot more water flow, and maybe in that case you could actually benefit from having the thicker moss. But when I put this product out there, there isn't going to be like 2 options. It's a one product on the website, keep this as simple as possible, and my current plan is to have 1/2 inch backed moss on top of 5/16 backed moss in the double level below. Please let me know in the comments if you're like, whoa, hang on, I would much rather, again, roughly the same price, I would much rather take that sacrifice of having a thicker moss in the hopes that maybe if I ran a dredge in this, I could, capture a little bit better gold or something. In my experience, I've been totally happy with this 5/16, and that's my current plan, but that's why I'm making this video. If I was to buy a lot of this stuff and put a product online, would you rather it's just all 1/2 inch, or would you rather the 5/16? So let me know that below. The next question I have is, I've got probably about 1 more month left in Canada, and then I'm off to Australia. So I have access to my garage shop, my metal brake, the ability to actually make some products here, a limited run for about 1 month. And right now, pretty much at the end of my savings, when I get to Australia, I may have to slow down the video production a little bit as I go back into the real world, working on Monday to Friday. I'd really like to see if I could actually sell some stuff here and use that money to help maybe bridge the gap between now, when YouTube is this last month, maybe about $1,000, which is amazing, but not enough to live on, and a potential future where maybe YouTube is actually able to keep me afloat. So my thought process here is that I'm going to build some of these big high bankers, and potentially, if there's interest, and that's again, comment section below, just let me know how much interest there is in each one of these things. You have the full-size box, and then going right to the other end of the spectrum, a stream sluice. 3 feet long, 8 inches wide. I can bend up that metal super, it's just gravy to make that. That would be your way, your cheapest way to get a hold of essentially the backed moss, the raised expanded, in a 3-foot stream sluice. Throw a flare on the front. Rather than have the sides of the sluice sort of bent open at the front, I would just have the sides straight up and down, and then a separate flare that goes on. That way you have the option to not use the flare, close off the front, build your own DIY high banker based off of having this all cut out and ready to go. If you're interested in that stream sluice, don't quote me on this, but it would be roughly, I try to keep it under about $160 US, 220 Canadian before shipping. If there's any interest in that, that's your Pop and Sun style stream sluice. And then the third product, which would be from the stream sluice to the big guy, the middle ground. This here is my Utmost Explorer. It's a 6-inch wide, designed to run on a bilge pump, little backpack unit. And the learning I had while building this, all the feedback I got was really good. People say the build quality is really nice. But in building it, it was more complicated than I thought it would be. I thought this would be like the real simple, just bend it up, little screen on top. But I think for not much more effort, I could just turn this into a proper mini. So like basically this sort of design, like a high banker, but single level, either 6 inches or 8 inches wide, just really tuned down, but able to handle full shovels and all of that. And I guess the differentiating thing is there's a lot of these mini high bankers out there, which are kind of more like toys than actual tools. And, you know, they've got little punch plate things that are laser cut out of aluminum to try to like screen material that doesn't work very well. You got guys throwing like the cheap hardware cloth version of this on top of the screens, and then just, you know, nothing's going through. And so basically my take would be something roughly this size, but with a, you know, the hopper and using correct stainless steel screening material, just sort of like a well-built mini. If there's any interest in that, let me know whether you'd like to see that in a 6 inch or an 8 inch. I'd lean towards the 8. I think that's you can still run that off a bilge pump and a small battery, no problem. And it would just it'd be a good way to bridge the gap between this guy here. I want this to be like serious. You could dredge into it. You can shovel as fast as you ever need. I would absolutely love one day to see one of these up in Nome. You see Vernon Atkinson up there just yelling at it out on Nome Beach, or Brian Waller of American Gold Prospectors digging into this thing. Like, it just brings joy to my heart to see somebody up in Nome running a box like this. And, you know, let me know how it works up there. It works really great here in Alberta. So I do want to build at least a few of these. Is there interest in the medium-sized, like, little packable high banker? Is there interest in a stream sluice? And as far as building this goes, thick moss everywhere, or my original plan, which is thick on top, thin underneath. Let me know in the comments below. I'm definitely going to be reading through these comments on this one. I'm not going to post this as a Thursday video, so you still get your regular Thursday video out of it. This is just me trying to judge what I should do in terms of, can I take my shop, my metal brake, my skills that I've acquired here in Canada, and actually make some money out of this before I leave the country. Hopefully help some of you guys out if you're interested in something exactly like what I've got here. So yeah, cheers, and thank you for watching.